Welcome to the Tansson Talk Show. I'm Brandon, and I want to welcome you here, where our mission here is to help bring people together. I'm always excited to bring you this show, and I'm excited today to have a conversation with Jillian. Jillian, welcome to the show, and I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here and can't wait to talk about whatever we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I'm very excited, as I said, to meet you and have you on. And so, first of all, how is your day going thus far?
Great. This morning, it was a very peaceful morning, so I'm all grounded and ready to go.
That is perfect. And yeah, before we go ahead and get started, I did want to allow a moment for you to go ahead and introduce yourself for the watching or listening audience here today.
So, I'm currently a senior communication with a concentration in public relations student at the University of Delaware. I am expected to graduate in May of 2024, so it's coming up very soon. I'm very excited. And I currently am in Connecticut at home for winter break. And I have passion in mental health and well being and just really focusing on yourself.
I'm very excited
Yeah,
for us. I'm very excited to hear that, and I am very excited for us to get into this discussion.
me too.
Yeah, and so I guess I'm going to start off by asking. So yeah, you mentioned that you are from Connecticut and currently there at the moment as of speaking this. But how did you decide to go to the University of Delaware?
So it really came out of nowhere for me. I was looking more in New England because I didn't know how far I wanted to go away from home. I have two older sisters. They both stayed in Connecticut for school. So I was the third and final kid out of my family that I think I kind of just wanted to explore a little bit. And my best friend, actually, at the time, she was going to Delaware State University. And she mentioned, she's like, why don't you look at the University of Delaware? Like, it's not too far from me. It's only 3.5, 4 hours from home. So me and her took a trip one day. We went on the tour together. My parents didn't even come. It was kind of just very spontaneous. And I fell in love with the school. It's all brick buildings, so it really gave me that home sense, really brought me back to New England type feeling. And so that's how I ended up there. And then during COVID, I stayed home for the first semester in the fall, which was definitely very challenging. And my roommate at the time, she was supposed to be going on campus with me in the spring, and she ended up dropping out of Delaware and transferring to a different school due to COVID. So that was a big challenge, and that made me question whether or not I want to stay at the University of Delaware. And I'm so happy I did, and I'm very grateful I did because my life, I don't imagine it any different.
I love that, and I love that that even despite the circumstances and that you weren't able to physically be there your first semester, that you still decided to go there, take a chance on it, and I mean, it seems like it's been working out for you.
Yeah, totally. I've learned so much. I've made so many great connections. I've had a handful of amazing professors that really have that connection with me that they want to see me thrive. They help me with, oh my gosh, anything you could even think of that professor would. So it's really, really grateful. And Delaware, it's about 20,000 students, but it really feels like a smaller community because the campus isn't huge. So you walk by the same people every day. You still walk by different people, new faces, but we have just kind of that sense of community that's very close knit.
Yeah, that is so great to hear, though, and yeah, but yeah, going back a little bit. So, of course, you are a communication student now in your senior year. Which, first of all, is how's it feel being in senior year?
So I was very excited at the beginning of the school year. I was like senior year last year, and the last week, it really hit me that I'm graduating. Definitely mixed emotions. I'm super excited to really just get my foot out in the door and experience whatever is out there for me because I'm really trying not to hold myself back and limit myself to jobs and all of that. I'm really trying to keep an open mind. But yes, it's definitely very nerve-wracking being a senior. I don't know what's to come. One semester left, so I'm trying to soak it all in and not really regret anything that I do. I'm like, it's just my last year being in college. So I really just need to live it.
Yeah, and yeah, it didn't hit me until, like I said, the end of the fall 2023 semester where, I was very excited for, for the semester to be finished because, I mean, it definitely was a very, long and tiring semester. Enjoyable one too, but,
Mhm.
definitely very tiring. And then it hit me while watching a friend's graduation. It's just like, oh, it's like this is the last break before like it's over.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. I was packing up my car. I was like, this is the last time I'm packing up my car until May. So it's definitely very real now.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't even, like I said, imagine how it is, for you, especially like being a campus student. Because I know for me being an online student, like I feel like it has like a little bit of a different take to it, but it nevertheless is still like so bizarre.
Yeah, I think the last 3.5 years flew by. I think definitely due to COVID too. We were all just in our own bubble, in our own world. And once we were kind of let out of that bubble, everything just time flew. I don't know where it went.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with more. And speaking of that though, so yeah, so going back to your time like in high school, for instance, did you always know that you wanted to like major in communication or become a communication student rather, or was that something that came later to you?
It definitely came a little bit later for me. Growing up, I've always been into sports and I loved animals growing up. So for so long, I want to be a vet. And then reality kind of hit. I was like, oh, I love school, I love learning, but I want to be more creative. And being a vet, you don't have that creativity. And I really, once I began to explore my true passions and finding myself, I really found myself wanting to storytell. And so that's where I ended up in communication. I started out in marketing and I loved marketing, but again, it didn't allow me to have that creativity where I could just tell whatever story I wanted to tell. Yes, I could in marketing, but it was just a little too, what's the word, like by the book for me. So that's how I ended up in public relations. And I met one of my favorite professors. Oh my gosh, she is like the best. And she is the one professor that hooked me onto public relations.
That is amazing, though. That I mean, that you're able to have that sort of experience, and like you said, I truly believe that with the communication route, that you're practically able to do almost anything that you set out to do, and in almost whatever field you want to go into as well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but overall, since you mentioned that you found, like I said, the one professor that really hooked you into, communication, public relations. So had you taken a class with that professor prior to, choosing this as your major?
I actually did not, surprisingly enough. I decided to take the chance and just kind of, again, due to COVID, I wasn't too sure because I wasn't on campus, but I did not like my marketing classes. And my advisor mentioned, she's like, well, maybe you can go into communication because, again, you can kind of experience a little bit of everything. So I was like, yeah, might as well. And then my first semester in public relations, she was my first professor, my very first class. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to stay in public relations and pursue this throughout college.
Well, at least that you were able to have, kind of caring professors that were able to, I mean, to work with you and sort of guide you towards the light of public relations.
Yeah, totally. And it's very funny because I think, at least my experience with public relation professors, is that they're very passionate about what they do. And so I have three professors that I will never forget because you can tell every time they speak and stand up in front, they are so passionate and they just, everything comes out just with clarity and with just so much ease that you can tell it's so genuine that they love what they're doing. So that was very motivational for me.
I love that. And I guess throughout your time, going through, your studies. Actually, let me take a step back. Actually, so you mentioned, of course, that your very first semester, at the University of Delaware, that you were, of course, online at home due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And so, how was that semester for you, starting off college?
That semester was definitely not the easiest. It was a lot in my personal life and academic life because, if I'm being honest, the end of my senior year in high school, my teachers, they were like, okay, well, you're pretty much done. So they let us definitely slack a little bit. And I would say that that was helpful in a way because then once I started my college journey, I was like, wow, it's like I have to do everything. I can't be told. It's a completely different field, but I was excited to take that on myself because I really wanted to learn all the things that were in front of me. I was like, okay, so yes, I was able to slack a little bit. And then once the fall came around, I was like, wow, okay, time to gear up and get this going. And it was definitely very hard because, of course, I wanted to be on campus and experience that in person, real life college experience because everyone hypes it up. Everyone is like, yeah, college, this, that. So it was definitely really hard because I also saw a lot of my friends went off to campus and I was at home. So personally, it was a lot. I would say I definitely felt very lonely at times. But again, I resorted to my academics where I was able to really get my head in the game and it helped me become very organized because it was all pretty much on my time and my schedule because I had nothing else to do other than school. So it really helped me get in a groove of really prioritizing academics, assignments, and all of that.
Well, I'm glad at least that that you still work to like take advantage of every opportunity in front of you and didn't just use it as a time of oh, like no one really cares, let's just do the minimum.
Exactly. And I think I notice a difference now with my peers around me, my classes, is that a lot of people still have that mindset of, well, oh, this quiz is online, this exam is online, I don't have to study. And I'm over here, I'm like, well, that's your life. Like, this is what we're here for. We're here to learn and to gain all this knowledge. So if you're just going to kind of push it aside and brush it under the rug and not put in the full effort, then you're really not getting the full experience. And that's what you're there for is a full experience.
Yeah, exactly. And I certainly feel like, whether it's an A or the degree itself, it's like to me there's not a point of it if you didn't learn anything. I mean, otherwise the grade's just a
Yeah,
grade.
exactly. Totally.
Yeah, but I'm so glad at least that I mean, you were able to have that time to at least, like also like relax a little bit more, prior to heading to the campus. And so because you had a semester delay of getting there, how was it when you finally had a chance to set foot on the campus and to and begin your time physically at the University of Delaware?
It was really exciting. I was so eager to get onto campus. Yes, it was a little nerve wracking, but I was so excited because we had our own rooms to ourselves. We didn't have roommates, and which kind of helped me out because my one roommate dropped out of Delaware, so I wasn't put with a random person. So I had a room to myself. I met so many people, and a handful of them I'm still friends with today, which I really appreciate. And I always say that everything happens for a reason, and I truly believe that I was home for the first semester to really gather myself and learn who I am. And then I went onto campus and I met the exact people that I needed to meet. Because again, a handful of them are still my best friends today. So I'm super happy about that. And I think getting onto campus alone and not knowing anyone, especially not having a roommate and a lot of COVID-19 restrictions, it was, again, a lot to handle mentally and personally, but I think just navigating through it all was really helpful because it really built who I am today because I had to take that step forward and not be so dependent on a friend or another person, and I really had to depend on myself.
I said that's good at least that you were able to at least have a solid transition, and of course, there's of course, a whole bunch of challenges and nuances with it as well. But at least you were able to, yeah, I mean, continue through it though. And yeah, and since you mentioned, of course, with the personal and mental challenges like what that came with it. So how was that for you and trying to navigate like balancing everything?
It was definitely a lot to learn, I would say. Um, I think the number one thing I really stuck in my own head and really helped me push through was that I'll never have to, or I'll never have this day again. Like, I'll never have this experience again. I'll never be able to go back in time. So I think really stepping foot onto campus, I was like, this is my first time at college, and this is my last first time at college. You can't redo anything, you can't go back and change anything. So I think really just sticking to, I only get this opportunity once, really helped me. And it definitely helped me make a lot of memories as well, because I even look back now, and anytime I think about freshman year, especially that one semester on campus, it's all but smiles. It is everything, or no, sorry, I misspoke. It is all smiles. And it is so great. And I will forever be grateful that I can look back at my time and it was all happy memories, because I think a lot of people, again, have dealt with a lot of transitions in college, and it's so hard to get out of that pressure of, well, I need a lot of friends, I need a lot of this. And to be honest, a lot of my memories are with two people, and I think, again, I'll always be grateful for that.
I absolutely love that. And yeah, I mean that's really cool though that you're able to like look back at that and I mean and see everything that you were able to do and that were able to accomplish. And that certainly sounds like that's like quite a bit in a successful semester.
Yeah, definitely, I would say so.
Yeah, and so of course now, being a senior, so how was the rest of your college journey progress and have you been able to do any internships?
Yes. So I definitely have learned a ton about not only myself, but also other people and obviously my academics as well. But I like to look at college as a whole and not just academics, because it's really not. We're only this age once, and we have this opportunity to live without our parents if you choose to. And I think whether or not you are living at home or on campus, you still are learning so much about yourself. And I really think that that's what it's all about. And so going on with internships, I have had luck with one. I've had a couple minor ones on campus just doing some social media, but this one in particular is by far my favorite. I started this internship with, it's called the Beyond Beauty Project. Started it in June of this year, and I was offered another internship throughout this academic year. And it has completely changed just my perspective on so many different levels. We really, my boss, Bridget Berg Brown, she is the founder of Beyond Beauty Project, and she is just an incredible person. She really has such a passion for just redefining the definition of beauty, because there's so many definitions of beauty, and it's way beyond your looks. And that's really what I am passionate about. And I was really beating myself up over not finding an internship, not getting accepted, interviews falling through, all of this. And all of a sudden, this internship popped up on my LinkedIn. And I was like, whoa, okay, what is this? I did a little research, I applied. And again, I think everything happens for a reason, because this is the internship I never imagined, but I think my life would be so different without it. And I'm so very, very grateful for it.
That sounds so exciting, and I am definitely going to have to, like I said, ask more about that. But that's so great, though, that LinkedIn was able to like provide that for you. I mean, that's meant to be.
Yeah, no, totally. I truly believe it was meant to be.
Yeah, and so you mentioned, of course, that being a part of this internship has changed like sort of like the trajectory of your life and some of your thoughts and beliefs. So, are you able to speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, totally. So I would say our main mission is to really, again, redefine beauty and just change the narrative of what society tells us we have to be or should be. Because we are all our own unique individuals. And I believe that we're not put on this planet to be like other people. We're supposed to be ourselves. And I think especially my generation, we've gotten so caught up in trying to be like someone else, trying to look like someone else. And I think a lot of that influence has come through social media. And which is funny to say because I want to work with social media, but then I'm like, oh, but it causes a lot of just pressures to be someone that you don't need to be. So I really love the work that Bridget and I are doing because you we're using social media in a way to really promote just such a different perspective on the way you use media, on the way that you view yourself and you view others. So it's really an all around amazing project that she has really curated.
I love that. And yeah, in terms of like the social media angle, I completely agree with that too, because I feel like, yeah, I mean, the more you scroll on social media, sometimes it makes you feel like everything there is, I mean, is real, and that's the exact way that it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you know that that's not the case, I think some part of you is just like, oh, like, yeah, this person did this, or oh, hey, they had this amazing opportunity. How come I don't have one?
Exactly. It's the comparison. And trust me, I that is where I was, I would say about sophomore year of college. So about 2 years ago, I was just in this rabbit hole of just comparison and being confused with really where I stood, who were my friends, and this and that. And I think just changing your perspective on the way that you use media is really a priority that everyone needs to make because, again, you just look at people and it's like, oh, well, they're doing this. Why don't I have that? Why am I not doing that? And you get in your head and it really causes you to question a lot. And so, yeah, I think it's just something that we all have to be aware of and I've done majority of my research in the 3.5 years I've been at the University of Delaware in social media use and mental health. And it's really opened my perspective up a ton. So that I'm very grateful for as well.
I think that's such a great topic to explore. And so, how did you, yeah, I mean, get into that topic for your, yeah, your, I guess, college exploration and research?
So I would say it started during COVID when I watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix, and it's a documentary. Have you watched it?
I have not watched it, but I have heard about it like so many times through this podcast. I'm okay. I'm gonna have to tune into this soon.
I highly recommend it. Oh my gosh, it's a little bit nerve wracking because it's like, whoa, is this really how our technologies work? But it's very eye opening. And that is definitely what sparked my interest. And then throughout my journey in college, I've dealt with a lot of mental health issues myself. And I really, what helped me change my perspective on mental health as well is just seeing how you handle all these challenges that come up in your life because they really come up for a reason to help you grow, not to burn you out and not to tear you down, but they really help you grow. And so I was like, well, why not help and write research on mental health and on things that we use every day in our life? Because we all are using screens at least once a day. So I was like, why not do that? And mental health has become such an epidemic in our country specifically. So I really want to just shine light on that as well, because I don't want people to make themselves think that they're alone because they're not, because it is such a common thing that we all deal with.
That is so true, and I really like that you're taking the time and effort to, I mean, to research this as a part of your studies, and to, I mean, and to explore more about it. And like I said, ever since hearing about this documentary the first time, I'm gonna definitely have to check it out because I've just heard so many, people say so many great things about it and the awareness that it brought to people. So I'm gonna have to be sure to yeah, to tune into it.
Yes, no, you definitely have to, especially I believe if you're in the field of communication, just social media, it's something that you should definitely watch because it just gives you a wider view.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to. I said make some time to to watch it, but yeah, since you
Yeah,
mentioned too that you know that beyond your research that it's almost become a little bit a part of a personal mission in a sense too.
100%. And I have always struggled finding myself and what I really am passionate for, especially in just academics, because yes, I've loved school, but growing up, my life was sports, gymnastics, equestrian, all of that. My life was just sports. And so once I got to college, I was like, what do I do? And so I really found a passion in just understanding mental health. And I really found my own niche in my academics. And that's why I am very happy I am at the school I'm at because I have the opportunities to explore what I really am passionate about instead of someone telling me you need to research this. I can pick and choose what I want to research, and I find best where I learn the most is when I'm passionate about the topic and I really just want to learn everything about it.
Yeah, that is so great though that I said that you've been able to use that and sort of manifest it into yeah, I mean to your own self. And to actually take a step back, since you have grown up like with sports, have you been able to use, any of the knowledge or like lessons learned from doing sports into your own personal life?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, completely. So I grew up doing gymnastics as my main sport, and gymnastics is, if you know, it is very strenuous on your body, but it's very demanding and very strict. So I definitely will say my discipline came from gymnastics. Yes, I have amazing parents, but I would say self discipline really stems from gymnastics because I had to hold myself accountable for 10, 12 years. Yeah, from the time I was like 3 years old. And everyone was always like, wow, how do you do it? How do you do it? And I think just from a really young age, I was expected to be at practice at this time to this time. And I was expected to learn this skill and do this. And I've had amazing coaches. I've learned through some not so amazing coaches, but I've also had those amazing coaches that have really held me accountable and have pushed me, but in such a healthy way. And I think that we all have to push ourselves in some sort of way as long as it's healthy and it's not coming from criticism, because I think coming from criticism, you can't heal, you can't grow from that. So again, just having that healthy person that you can depend on and just healthy relationship with yourself and other people is really can carry you through life.
Yeah, I think that is so like I said, so important, so powerful too. And I feel like there's so many different, I mean, aspects of our lives that we can look and be like, it's like this one thing I did, or maybe even, this organization or group I was a part of. It's like this taught me the importance of this, and because of that, that's who I am today.
Yes. And I think, again, that's all part of our journey.
Yeah, and I like how like throughout your time that you've been working to craft your own journey and to make it in whichever way that you see fit, as opposed to having other people dictate, what it is that you do, what is it that you research, and your path going forward. And so, with that being said, so over this next spring 2024 semester, your final one before graduation, how do you want to shape your path?
Oh, that's a great question. I really try my best to live day by day and be present. I really try not to put too much pressure on myself. I'm not perfect. It's very hard. It's still learning and progress, but I think I really just want to soak up every moment and be very present with myself and who I'm around. Because again, you can't go back. You'll never live this same day. We'll never experience this conversation like this again. So I think really just staying true to who you are. That is my biggest goal this upcoming semester. And not letting the pressures of seeing other people who are already accepting job offers and this and that, not letting that get in my way, because I know that has definitely affected me in the past. And I really just want to, again, be present with myself, my surroundings. And I know that everything happens for a reason. And I know an offer will pop up when it does, and it'll be exactly what I need and at the perfect time.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that is so true, and yeah, and that's certainly, I think, words to live by as well. And yeah, I mean, I certainly also believe that like everything happens for a reason, and that it's going to work out in the way that it should. Not to say that we shouldn't try,
Yeah,
to be fully clear, but
exactly. No, yeah, exactly. We're not all perfect. And I think we just have to, we need to find a balance of just going with the flow and accepting things as they come, because it is really true. Like, you can't, you can't predict tomorrow. You can't go in the past. So I think really just focusing and working towards your goal, however that looks for you, because it looks different for everyone, and just really staying true to that.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. And yeah, it's one of the things too where it's like we can, yeah, we certainly should, yeah, can and should, yeah, of course, go after our goals and try to make things happen, but at the same time, not force it either, because sometimes the path that you think that you need to go on isn't really your path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And that's something that my mom has always said. So it's funny that you're saying that, because it's so true. Sometimes we think that things are meant for us, and then the universe is like, nope, that's not meant for you this way. And it definitely takes some time to process it. But I think once you realize, and it's like, oh, wow, like, this is really what was meant for me, it's just, you can't, nothing else compares to that.
Absolutely. And would you say that you have some personal experiences, yeah, I mean, with opportunities like that?
Yes, I would say not as far as more career based, I mean, other than my internship, but I would say definitely my personal life. Yes.
Okay, yeah, that definitely is good to know. And is there anything that you'd like to, I mean, to even share about, about some of the interesting parts of your mission, some parts that have really stood out throughout whether your college journey or your personal journey?
Oh, um, I would say, again, just coming back to yourself, because what has really helped me grow as a person and get through tough times is understanding that at the end of the day, yes, I have people there for me, but at the end of the day, it's really me who's there for me. At the end of the day, you'll always have yourself. And I think that there's so much beauty in that, because you really have to realize, like, okay, tomorrow is not guaranteed. So today, I need to show up for myself. I need to do this XYZ for myself so I can really grow as a person, flourish, and be there for others in my life. And I think it really begins with you. Once you are grounded and comfortable within yourself, then you can really show up for other people and be there. And then I think that's really when your authenticity shows and other people really understand who you are. Because I think for a while in my journey, I was just kind of caught up in the whole college life and the excitement and the cliches of it. And I kind of lost myself a little bit. And then once I hit a point, I was like, wait, this is who I am. I'm meant to go out and do my yoga and make my juices and do all this stuff, because that's what makes me feel like me. And I don't need other people telling me, let me live a certain way. Like, let's go do this, when it does not align with who I am deep down. Yes, don't get me wrong, I'll go out and have my fun. But at the end of the day, it's really what I want, because what I need will really help me as a person grow.
I absolutely love that. And yeah, I mean, I feel like no one really can understand yourself, better than yourself. And also, yeah, the people that you choose to surround yourself with.
Totally. And like you said, you don't really know yourself like anyone else. And I think that you really, we're constantly discovering new things about ourselves. We're always going to be on this journey to discover new passions and new whatever it is because we're constantly evolving. We're not static. We are constantly evolving and changing and adapting at every stage in our life. So I think like that's really what I'm most excited about too after college. I'm very sad, but at the same time, like I know there's so much out there for me that I just haven't even thought about yet or I haven't experienced. So I think just keeping that in mind really can help you look forward to the future and what's to come.
Absolutely. And yeah, and beyond just, like I said, your books and of course academia. So how has your life been like outside of all of that? And what are some of the things that you've learned about yourself throughout 2023?
I have learned that people can come and go in your life and you cannot force them to stay. You cannot change who other people are. That's definitely the number one thing. And I think a lot of people have to understand and come to terms with that because we may think someone is our best friend. We may think someone is meant for us. And not all the time. I think people, again, like my mom has always said, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And that's something that I've really stood by this year because I think there's lessons to learn from everything you experience, especially people that come into your life, because you're really a reflection onto other people. And yes, some people may not understand you for who you really are, but as long as you understand yourself and you know who you are deep down, that's really what matters because they came into your life for whatever reason to teach you whatever they taught you. And it may not be so obvious, but once you do a little bit searching, it'll really come up and you'll be grateful for that person.
I absolutely agree with that. And yeah, I mean, and to add on to that too, I certainly feel like, I mean, yeah, an important part to add on to that is just that, I mean, when reflecting, like, no one can ever take your memories away from you with that. You can still have enjoyed your
Mm-hmm.
time with them and also knowing that that phase is also over.
Yes, exactly. And I think understanding that chapters in your life close and a new chapter begins is so important too.
Yeah, and and sometimes too, you never know who will come back in the next chapter.
Exactly. And I think that's just the joy of life is that you don't know what's to come. So it's so exciting. And I think, again, like myself, I've shifted my perspective to be excited about the future, not to be scared.
Yeah, I mean, and I can really see that, of course, reflected within our conversation as well. And so I guess in terms of what's next, so what would you say is next for you after graduation, and are you ready to officially graduate?
Um, I think I am ready. Yes. I am ready to just start that new journey of whatever is supposed to come. And I think right now I'm really trying to just do my research on PR agencies that I want to work at. And I am keeping myself a little bit narrowed down to just working at an agency because I want to really expand my horizon of just experiences within the PR industry. And I mean, if an opportunity in house comes up, then I would gladly take it. But I think I really want to explore within the agency life because I am a part of PRSSA. I'm on my executive board at my chapter, and we've gone to multiple different agencies and just really being in that environment and being in the office, it's very collaborative and I work best in a collaborative environment and brainstorming back and forth and just bouncing ideas is really where I thrive. So I'm really excited to just find an agency that best suits me and also that I can really give to that agency because I really want to find something that is more in the health, wellness, beauty industry so that I can share my passion through my work.
I absolutely love that, and yeah, I definitely hope that you're able to find an agency that allows for you to, yeah, to continue and strive on your own personal journey while also exploring like new avenues that you never even knew were meant for you.
Yeah, thank you. Me too. And I think, again, that's just what's exciting about just stepping into the real world now. It's like, oh my gosh, like I have so many opportunities I don't even know.
And since of course you mentioned that that you have two different minors right now in advertising and entrepreneurship, how would you say that they have added on to the coursework and discipline that you've learned within communication?
So I would say advertising has definitely helped me understand the difference between advertising, PR, and marketing. And I think having that little experience in marketing, the beginning of my journey at college, now having an advertising minor and being a public relations major, it really has given me a 360 view on just the world of communication. And so that I'm very grateful for. And I thought for a little bit, I thought I wanted to do advertising, but I think PR is more my route because I think I want to do a little bit more writing than just like the creative side. So I kind of want to do a little bit of everything. But again, it'll come however it comes. And entrepreneurship, I have always had an entrepreneurial mindset. I would say, like, I used to, oh my gosh, my friends and I growing up, we used to do lemonade stands like every day of the summer. My one friend and I think in like third or fourth grade, we would make like dog treats and we brought them to like the little pet shop in town, sold them. Like, I've always wanted to make things and just kind of do it myself. So that's why I decided to add entrepreneurship as my minor. And my courses in entrepreneurship have really expanded my view and I think have built up my confidence within just the business world as well. And taking leadership classes have helped a lot too. Just learning how to lead, but also work alongside with people and colleagues has really helped because, again, I've learned about myself through all of those experiences too.
I love that, and definitely sounds like you have been working towards entrepreneurship for practically your whole life. Then
Yeah. Yep. And my mom, oh my gosh, clearly my mom is like my best friend because I keep bringing her up. But she told me, she was like, definitely try it out. She was like, it's a minor. You don't have to, it's not too much pressure. And I'm very happy I did because, again, I've just learned so much.
I'm so glad. And what would you say is like a part of the value and importance of effective communication, since that is sort of like a little bit of the cornerstone of of your whole life and journey?
Totally. I would say just that interpersonal connection with people. I think there's nothing more valuable than having a face to face conversation because you really get to understand the person. You get to understand their energy and their vibe. And you can really learn a lot from, especially being in person with someone. I mean, yes, you can learn so much through conversation, but I think really having all the pieces of interpersonal communication together really helps you understand who you're talking to, what type of person they are, their interests and everything. And I think just really at the core of humanity for the most part is just understanding each other. And I think if we all just understood each other a little bit more, then we would all be a little bit more happy because I think it's so, so important to really just try to see the other person's point of view. And I would say that there has been so much chaos in our world because we haven't had that interpersonal connection. We haven't heard each other. We haven't listened. We haven't valued each other. So I think that is really at the core of communication.
I absolutely love that, and yeah, definitely, of course, agree with that as well. And before we begin, wrapping up as well, I did actually want to take your response for your most recent question, and actually flip this and say, so how is it for you, being able to, to be here on the show to speak about your own journey and have this interpersonal communication?
I was so nervous for many reasons, just because this is my first ever podcast and I'm super excited to be here. So, thank you again for inviting me. I would say that I think this opportunity popped up for a reason for me to just have this conversation with you and to share these areas and different perspectives because I think that it is so important to have these opportunities. And I think this is really, I looked at it this morning, I was reflecting, and I was like, wow, this could be my first step into the door. Like, I thought this opportunity was really just so important to me because I do want to do some entrepreneurship myself and maybe make my own wellness, whatever, one day. I don't even know what it looks like. But I was like, wow, just being a guest on your podcast is such a great first step for me. And I was very honored to have this opportunity. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you so much for, like I said, for sharing your story and journey, and definitely, keep me in touch with everything that you're doing now and in the future, so I can support you in any way that I can.
Thank you. Yes, I definitely will.
Yeah, and for those watching or listening that may want to tune into everything that you do, where's the best places for them to potentially follow or connect with you online?
I would say my LinkedIn. It is Jillian Melendez. I am in the process of possibly beginning a new Instagram solely for just kind of my journey, but also helping others in mental health. So that is called Journeying with Jill on Instagram. Or you can follow my personal, which is Jill_Melendez.
I love that, and I hope that everyone, watching, listening, definitely, tunes in and follows everything that you do. And last but certainly not least, Julian, I did want to allow for you to go ahead and close us out with whether it be an inspirational thought, life lesson, or whatever the case may be. The floor is all yours.
I would say just start now. Do not hesitate. And there's no perfect time other than now to start. Whether you want to start a company or start your journey to just self love, whatever it is, start now because there will never be a perfect time. You can never go back in time. So, might as well just start now and really explore your passions because your passions, I know it sounds cliche, but your passions will really lead you to where you're meant to be.
I absolutely love that. Thank you so much, like I said, for taking your time and for coming on to show. And I definitely am excited to see what you do both now and in the future.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this conversation. It was wonderful.
Of course, and thank you. For those watching or listening, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in to the Tansson Talk Show. I always love doing this every week. Continue to tune in next week as we continue on our mission to bring people together. I'll see you next time. Take care.